Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another story time this week. The theme of our story time is going to be all about acting green, and we'll talk about what that means. And I chose this theme this week because just last week we announced that we have 3 new summer programs, and they're all part of our Homegrown Steward program. And you might be wondering, steward, that's kind of a funny word. What does that word mean? And a steward is a person who takes care of something. So at Happy Dancing Turtle, a big part of our jobs is to teach kids and adults how to be good stewards or caretakers of the earth. In the past, people haven't always treated the earth so nice, and we're hoping we can change that for the future. So part of our programs this summer are to get you, again, it's called Homegrown Stewards, because we can't see you this summer. We won't have camps and a lot of summer programs like we normally do. So we've come up with 3 new programs that you can do at home. One of those is a family activity kit where we will send you a big box of stuff that has a bunch of activities for you to do, and it's around a theme as a family. So it will engage your whole family. It's designed for all ages, parents too. The second thing is we're making a private Facebook group where we are going to be posting an activity every single day, Monday through Friday. So not every day, every weekday, Monday through Friday, from June 15th to August 15th for you to do at home. So these aren't super long things. It's just something where you can engage with us every day and be doing something to learn about nature, plants, animals, the environment, or how you can take care of one of those things. So that's our daily activity. And then we're also going to try to run some eco camps this summer. It won't be like normal where you're seeing us at camp, but we will meet with you every single morning, and you can meet with your peers and talk about what you're doing in your Eco Camp week. And same thing, we'll send you a little activity kit that you can unpack at home with tons of Eco Camp fun in it that you can do right at your home. We will post a link down below with more information about all of those programs, so make sure to check those out afterwards. But again, all of those things are designed to help you be good stewards or caretakers of our planet. And in order to do that, you have to know about the plants and the animals and the environment, and then you can learn how you can help take care of those things. So it's going to be a lot of nature, a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of environmental ed, and then some sustainability, or what we call taking care of the planet. We use our resources in a sustainable way, aspects to those programs as well. So our book today is called Not For Me, Please, I Choose to Act Green. So often we call it, when we're making decisions where we're thinking about what might be good for the planet, we call that acting green. Okay, so this book is going to show us some of the ways that you might choose to act green or become a steward for our planet. The book was written by Godsey, and it was illustrated by Christoph Kellner. There once was a day when I didn't act green, a time when I thought things would always stay clean. I didn't think twice of the choices I made, the impact they had, or the damage that stayed. My actions were based on the ease brought to me, with never much thought to our air, land, or sea. But my thoughts around this changed in a flash when I noticed the damage caused by our trash. The sight of it caused a reaction in me, and all I could say was, "Not for me, please." It's a lot of garbage. I could not continue to live as I did. Surely I could help out, because I'm a strong kid. From there I decided that I will take action, and protecting our planet became my new passion. You too can help out with this phrase that I found. Just say, "Not for me, please," and stand your own ground. It may take some practice, but I'll show you how and why it's important for us to act now. Let's look at a straw that comes with a shake. Now imagine the trip the straw will soon take. Most often our straws are made out of plastic, and after one use, they're thrown in a basket. From the basket they head to the dump or the sea and become something known as marine debris. Our oceans are filled with all sorts of stuff that hurt our sea creatures and make their lives rough. Poor turtles and fish mistake trash for their meal. Imagine the pain that their tummies must feel. Or worse, they get tangled in our careless muck around fins, heads, and legs. They're nothing but stuck. This one little straw is not worth the high cost. Why use things that harm or cause a great loss? Here's what I say. Not for me, please, when asked. I don't need a straw that will simply be trashed. We all have a choice. Let's do our small part to refuse to cause harm and decide to act smart. So you might know somebody who brings their own straws to places that you can reuse over and over again instead of taking plastic straws when you go out. Just think through your actions, the cause and effect of waste and pollution and careless neglect. Let's choose to recycle, reduce, and reuse. And with my strong phrase, there's no way we lose. Here are some examples to show what I mean and how you can join me and begin to act green. So we call those the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Sometimes we say there's a 4th R, which is refuse, which is what he's saying when he says, not for me, please. That's refusing. Do you see all this trash scattered around? Why would anyone throw their stuff on the ground? Not for me, please, is what I choose to say, and pick up the litter to throw it away. I like that he's wearing gloves when he does that. That's smart. I choose to be mindful and sort through my trash, recycling things like plastic or glass. These can be turned into something brand new, like clothing, park benches, or even a shoe. Do you recycle at home? Let's look at these lights that someone left on in the room that is empty with everyone gone. The same for computers, games, and TVs. Why keep these things on for no one to see? Not for me, please. I use what I need and power things off whenever I leave. I know that it's easy for one to forget, but do it enough and a habit you'll set. Do you see this faucet and the water that flows? How much has been wasted? It's so hard to know. Just running the water when it's not in use is careless and wasteful. There's just no excuse. Not for me, please. I avoid wasteful drips while brushing or cleaning my small fingertips. We're lucky to have clean water to drink, not the kind that is harmful, dirty, or stinks. Do you bring food to school that's packed at your home? After your lunch, how much trash has been thrown? From plastic baggies to small boxes of juice, it's scary the trash that just one meal can produce. Not for me, please. I watch what I bring. I use food containers and avoid plastic things. I bring my own bottle, I wash and reuse. No need to contribute to plastic abuse. Do any of you have reusable things like a water bottle in your lunchbox or maybe some glass Tupperware that you can use over and over and over again? These pages don't want to turn. Even while shopping, I see so much waste. Plastic grocery bags found all over the place. And why are there so many things plastic wrapped? Most of this plastic will only be scrapped. Not for me, please. I've had enough. I use my cloth bags when I pick up my stuff. I also take care of what goes in my cart. Choosing less packaging and plastic is smart. So we have choices when we go into stores about what we want to buy. And packaging is one thing you can consider. Have you been on a picnic when the sky was bright blue? Do you remember the cups, plates, and forks that you used? They were probably plastic and used only once. But decomposing takes years, not just a few months. Not for me, please. I'll join the ban against single-use plastic, 'cause I'm not a fan. All that I need can come from my home. Let's avoid needless buys and reuse what we own. So he's not going to use these anymore. He's using the plates he already had at home. Our world is connected with resources shared. We all must pitch in and give nature our care. Let's pass on these things that don't make much sense or benefit us at our planet's expense. The options are endless if you make the right choice. Think the 3 R's and use your strong voice. So how will you choose the next time when you're out? Will you think differently and take a new route? You are free to borrow my little phrase and say, "Not for me, please," in all of your days. Has some questions to talk about with your families, and I won't read those right now because we'll go back through and read some more about those things. But you can see at the end he's saying, "Not for me, please, I choose to reduce." That means use less. "Not for me, please, I watch what I use." "Not for me, please, I brought my own bottle." "Not for me, please, I'm a role model." And remember that you, even as a kid, you have a choice. So you can say, "Not for me, please." And it's really important that we know that our actions have impacts and that we have choices to make and that we can use our voice to fight for what we want to and to stand up for what we think is right. All right, let's go back and take a look at some of these pages. Right at the beginning, he's talking about how he didn't used to really consider his choices. And it says, "It can be difficult to understand the effect of our actions on the environment, especially when we don't see the damage or long-term effects caused. We easily get trapped in our daily routine and habits without reflecting on the cost it has on our environment. However, with awareness of the effect of our behavior on our environment and planet, this can change. Understanding the interconnectedness and adjusting our way of living in a way that is friendly to our environment and sustainable for our planet means to think and act green." And that is going to be what our homegrown steward programs are all about this summer. So he finds trash in the park that makes him think twice and start changing his ways. It says over 260 million tons of waste are generated every year in the U.S. Globally, over 220 million tons of plastic are produced each year. All this waste adds up and pollutes our environment, even if we don't see it all the time. So it might not be around us, and we might not see it, but it's still there. Did you know that every piece of plastic ever created still exists today, with the exemption of plastic that has been incinerated? That means plastic that has been burned. Our use of plastic has gotten so out of control that it's estimated there will be more plastic by weight in our oceans than fish by 2050. That's a lot of plastic. Okay, what else do we see? We see him refusing plastic straws. It says each day more than 500 million plastic straws are used and discarded in the United States alone. That's a lot of straws for just one country. This all creates waste that ends up in landfills and our oceans, just for the convenience of having a straw. Marine debris is human-created waste that has deliberately or accidentally been released in a lake, sea, ocean, or waterway. In 2006, the United Nations Environment Program estimated that there are 46,000 pieces of floating plastic in every square mile of ocean. That's a lot of garbage we're putting into the ocean. And we see that it's hurting the animals that live there. Did you know about 1 truckload of trash is thrown into the waters every minute? The trash is captured by ocean currents and collects within ocean gyres or vortexes. That's like these big swirls of water in the ocean that collect trash from a big area and concentrate it into a small area. Some gyres have become so full of trash that they've been nicknamed garbage patches. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is now 3 times the size of France. The trash thrown in our oceans doesn't just float on its surface. After sunlight photodegrades the floating pieces of plastic, so the sun breaks it into smaller and smaller pieces. Aquatic life and seabirds mistake these fragments for food, and they eat them. That doesn't sound good. And our sea life and birds aren't the only ones eating plastic. When we eat fish that have eaten plastic, this too goes into our bodies. Additionally, plastic has frequently been found in many brands of bottled water because there's so much plastic in our water at this point. Did you know that 93% of Americans age 6 or older test positive for BPA, a plastic chemical? Also, some of the compounds found in plastic have been found to alter hormones or have other potential human health effects. So it's not good for us when we eat tiny bits of plastic, and that's becoming more and more common because we use it so much. Reduce, reuse, and recycle, known as the 3 R's, are the main ways to practice environmentally responsible consumer behavior. When we aim to reduce the amount of waste we produce, the consumption of new resources reuse as many items as possible before replacing them, and recycle, we take action to protect our environment and act green. So it says recycling. We see him picking up all this trash and recycling what he can. Recycling is the process of converting waste into new usable materials and objects. When we recycle, we reduce the need to consume or use Earth's natural resources through mining and forestry. Recycling helps ensure sustainable use of our limited resources. So we're using what we have wisely when we do that. There are many things that can be recycled: metal, plastic, glass, aluminum, and paper. It's important to be conscious that the items we buy are materials that we can be recycled and not just used once and end up in a landfill. Contact your local recycling center to find out what can be recycled in your area. And that's really, really important because we don't make it easy to recycle in this country, and every place has different rules about what you can or cannot recycle. So it's really important to contact your recycling company to find out if you're doing it right. When you consume less power and energy, you decrease the demand and therefore emissions from power plants. To generate electricity, most power plants burn coal, crude oil, or other fossil fuels. This method of creating energy is relatively inexpensive, so it's cheap to do, but it causes significant air pollution and contributes to climate change. If we turn off 2 lights in our home for an hour every day, we could save more than 5 million kilowatt hours of electricity nationwide each year. The amount of coal it takes to produce that much electricity could fill up the Empire State Building almost 3 times. So little changes can have a big impact if we all do them. Less than 1% of the water on Earth is readily available for human use. Salt can be removed from the seawater, but that process is expensive. Water conservation is a sustainable way to make the most of our fresh water that we do have. Did you know a 5-minute shower uses more water than a person in a developing country uses in a day? Wow. Sadly, 1 in 9 people worldwide do not have access to safe and clean drinking water. This lack of clean water kills children at a rate equivalent to a jet crashing every 4 hours. So we are really, really, really lucky to have clean water here. It has been estimated that on average, school-aged children using a disposable lunch daily generates 67 pounds of waste per school year. That equates to 18,760 pounds of lunch waste for just one average-sized elementary school. Just by changing what and how you pack your lunch can drastically reduce waste. On average, Americans use 50 billion water bottles every year, and only 23% of those water bottles are recycled. Just in the United States, 1.5 million barrels of oil are used annually in the production of plastic water bottles. If that oil was not used to make these bottles, it could fuel 100,000 cars for a whole year. Make sure you have your own reusable water bottle. Every year, Americans throw away over 140 billion food and drink containers and bottles. More than 30% of our waste is simply packaging material alone. So 30% of our plastic gets used just one time and then thrown away. Plastic bags are created using fossil fuels and require vast amounts of water and energy to manufacture and ship. Plastic bags are used on average for 12 minutes, but remain in landfills, oceans, and other places for thousands of years. About 50% of plastic we use only once and throw it away. There are several kinds of plastic, and each degrades or breaks down a little differently. The average time for a plastic bottle to completely break down is at least 450 years. It can even take some bottles 1,000 years to biodegrade. And even then, they're not completely gone. The particles are just so small we can't see them anymore, but they're still in our soil and they're still in our water. Single-use plastics are plastic materials that are disposable and generally used only once before they are thrown away or recycled. Plastic water bottles and plastic bags are the most common single-use plastics. Did you know that France passed a law, which will go into effect in 2020, banning plastic plates, cups, and utensils. And we're starting to see a lot more of this around the world as countries that are banning either plastic bags or single-use plastics like to-go cups and things like that. So those are some more of the facts about how you can be green. Again, we hope to see you soon. Bye.